Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Roxana and I am a fully qualified teacher in the UK. And in today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to round numbers. This is a full lesson, so what I need you to do before we start is to get a pen and a paper because you're going to have some practice questions to do. I am actually not going to spend the whole video just talking. I'm going to talk, I'm going to explain a bit, and then you're going to have a few activities to do. When I ask you, you need to pause the video and try to do the work on your own. And after that, you're going to have the answers on the screen so you can mark your own work. And in the first few activities, we only have some simple exercises. And after that, we also have some problem solving. And some of them we're going to do together, and others I'm just going to give you the answers and you're going to mark your own work on the ones that I feel like we don't need to explain any further and it's just for the purpose of practicing. Okay, so let's start. This is a fun starter. I usually start my lessons in a nice and fun way just to warm up whoever is doing the lessons, especially the children in primary and secondary, because I don't want to make them feel like they don't know maths from the beginning of the lesson. Math is challenging and you can always find the right answer if you try enough times. But for starters, it's much easier to just do something easy. So pause the video and spend a few minutes just looking at this and try to figure out the value for each one of the symbols. And let's figure out if you can get to the final answer. And then I'm going to tell you how to do it. Okay, so let's get a pen. Right, so two numbers that add together give you 6, so one of them should be 3 because they're both the same, so it means they're equal. Then if this one is 3, if you take away a 3 from a number, you still have 1 left, so it means this has to be 4. Okay, and this is 4, this is... What do you times by 4 to get 40? Obviously, the guitar should be 10. Now we get here. The thing that you have to pay attention to here is the fact that there's 2 of them. So if there's 2 of them, that means this should be a 6, not a 3. And this is 10. So you have 6 times 10, which is 60. This is a really easy one. There are harder ones as well. But for now, it's good. And then in the next few lessons, we can do longer ones that have 3 symbols maybe. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this and we're gonna move on to the next activity. Hope you solved it. And as I said, it's nothing difficult. Someone in primary should be able to do it, but not only. Okay, so I want to show you how to think about the rounding numbers when it comes to a number line. So let's just think of a number with 1 decimal point. So if we have 4.3, okay, 4.3 means 4 and a little bit. So if you think about a number line, yeah, let's just say like a line, the 4 is situated between 4 and 5. The 4.3 is somewhere between 4 and 5, right? Now, if we have the 4 and the 5, I want you to think where would the middle value be. So the middle between 4 and 5 is at 4.5. Okay, yes. Now, if we know that the middle is at 4.5, now we have to try to place this number on the number line. And obviously, because this number is smaller than 4.5, we're going to place it somewhere around here. So we do 4.3, okay? And if the number is on this side of the line, it means it's closer to 4. So when you round 4.3 to the nearest whole number, you get 4, okay? And I want to give you now a similar example. If you have 4.7. 4.7 is based, oops, that's not a straight line. 4.7 is between 4 and 5 as well. This is the 5, this is the 4. And this is 4.5. But 4.7 is right after 4.5, so it's somewhere around here, 4.7. Yeah, and because it's closer to 5 than it is to 4, then it's, when you round to the nearest whole number, that gives you a 5. Okay, now the point where you round up is here. So if you have 4.5, yeah, when you get a number like this, you also have to round up. Because this is the tricky part. When you are halfway through, what do you do? Because you can't say you're closer to 4 and you also can't say you're closer to 5, okay? So this is kind of the only exception. When you are right halfway through the numbers, in between the numbers, you have to be generous and you have to round up. Okay, so that's all you need to do for now. That's all you need to know. So in the next activity, which is very simple, I want you to look at the screen and to figure out which one of these numbers this is closer to. Okay, so this is basically broken down for you. I've already done the number line. I already placed the number. All you need to do is say, is it 5 or is it 6? Now, if you know how to, you can pause the video and try to write on the screen if you have the tools. I don't know if you can. It depends. If you have a tablet, you might be able to do it. If not, all you need to do is just write on a sheet of paper. You write A, and then for A, you have to write which one is closer. Is it the 5 or the 6? Obviously, in this case, it's 6. So you write the nearest whole number is 6. Okay? And then you write B and so on. So that's what you write on your sheet. Okay, so now I need you to pause the video and get to work on this activity. Okay, right. So once we've done this, I'm gonna quickly do it for you. I'm not gonna give you the answers to this. I'm just going to do the answers. So this is obviously closer to 12. So 12.1 to the nearest whole number is 12. This is closer to 9. This is closer to 4. This is closer to 15. This is closer to 326. This is closer to 1, and this is closer to 19, yeah, because it's 0.5. It's basically halfway between them. It's not closer to, but that's the one you have to write down. Okay, right. If you got this, now the next thing you need to do here is basically the same thing, but this time it's a bit harder because you don't have the number line anymore, but you should be able to do it. So if you imagine this number between, yeah, this is between 7 and 8. You have to think, where's the middle? 7.5. You don't have to actually draw this. Unless you just started learning this lesson and you're a visual learner, then feel free to draw it, to sketch everything. Otherwise, you can just write on your piece of paper, write the answers like that, A, and then obviously 7.2 is here, so it's closer to this. So for A, you just write 7. For B, you write your answer. Okay? And I will be giving you in a minute the answers to this activity as well. Okay, for now, pause the video and do the work. Good luck. Okay, so now we're back and we're gonna check the answers. So for this activity, here are your answers. And I am going to let you can pause the video again and mark the work, and then we're gonna move on. I have a few more activities for you for today. Okay, here's the next one. So this one basically allows you to round the numbers to the nearest whole number when the number you're given has 2 decimals. Okay, it's not that different. 8.15, actually you can think about it as 8.1 or 8.15. It depends how big the difference is. Basically, if you put this number on the number line, you're gonna be able to do it. Okay, so obviously halfway between these two numbers is 8.5, and when you plot this here, it's really close to 8. It's much closer to 8 than it is to 9. So this is your answer. Okay, so now you can pause the video and you can try to do your own work here. Yeah, so all you need to do is write your answers. For A, the answer is closer to 8, then for B, and so on. And then I'm gonna show you the answers in a minute. So right now, just pause the video and try to do the work in your book. Right, so we're back. Now let's see, this one obviously is closer to 4, so this activity is really easy for now. But it might be more difficult if you have to do this without having the number line. Okay, if you feel like this is too easy for you, you can definitely skip it and move on, because they get harder and harder. Next activity doesn't have any number lines, and after that you have problem solving. So okay, this one is closer to 2, and this one is closer to 11. This one is closer to 18, and this one is closer to 52, closer to 1, and closer to 39. Okay, that's it for this activity. Next, there you go. Now you have to do your own number line. You can just write the answer straight away. Most people are able to do it. Most pupils just look at a number and already know. Just because if you're a visual learner doesn't mean you always have to draw it. You can imagine the number line in your head. So that's what we get to. First of all, we have to draw everything out, and then we get more confident. As we get more confident, we no longer need to draw the number lines. Okay, so pause it and do this quickly, and I'm going to show you the answers after this. Okay, right, so we're back. Let's see. Answers for this activity are on this slide here. Question 4, and you can mark it by yourself. Okay. So most of these questions I've taken from SEN Maths. I'm going to leave the link in the description. You only have a PDF sheet. You might have some exam questions. They're really good. They also have their own explainer video, but they're not as structured as this lesson. But you can have the link, and if you want, you can do. They might even have a bit more practice there. Or if you ever want to revise another topic, you can also find practice questions there. And if you scroll down until the bottom of the PDFs, you have the answer section. So it's really easy to work on there if you are good working on your own without someone explaining to you every single step of the way. The purpose of these videos are to actually go through every single step of the way. Okay, so let's see. You marked your work. Now we're going to move on to problem solving. Right, here are some problems in a context where you have to round. Right, so let's see what these questions are. Question 1. A cupcake contains 4.6 grams of protein. Round 4.6 grams to the nearest whole number. Very simple, yeah, very straightforward. I'm not going to read them out to you. I want you to actually have a look at them and spend some time trying to solve them. Right, so you can pause the video now. Right, so I had a look at some questions. These are really nice and good. So first, I think the first two are quite easy, but what I want to focus on is the ones after that. Yeah, so I'm going to give you the answers anyway to this activity, but sometimes it's not enough to have the answers. So I'm going to go over question 3 just to discuss how to think about it, and question 4 as well. Okay, so for question 3, it says Georgia has divided 2,355. And if you look at a calculator, the number looks really similar. So basically the digits look very similar, but they have different decimal places. Okay, so here, if you're not familiar with division by 10 and 100 and 1000, you see that the decimal point moved, yeah, it got here from the end, because right now this number has the decimal point at the end, and then from the end now it looks like it's here. Okay, and the reason why that happened is because this number was divided by 100. So if you divide the number by 10, you're going to have the decimal point here. If you divide the number by 100, you're going to have the number here, the decimal point here. If you divide the number by 1000, you're going to have the decimal point here. Yeah, so that's why it looks like that. So she divided by 100, and then it says round the answer to the nearest integer. Obviously 23.55 is between 23 and 24. Yeah, 23 and 24. Halfway between them is 23.5, and our number is right after this here. Oops, yeah, 23.55. Okay, so obviously it's closer to 24, right? And here, let's just have a look at this question. Derek wants to round 8 hours and 45 minutes to the nearest hour. Okay, so now I'm just going to draw some fractions so we can discuss the problem. He says the answer is 8 because 8.45 rounds to 8. Explain why he's wrong. Well, obviously, let's just draw this is the watch, yeah, or the time. You can imagine this as being 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour, and let's just shade 45 minutes of an hour. Okay, this is a quarter of an hour, this is half of an hour, and this is 45 minutes. Okay, now look at the proportion. Is this more than half or is this less than half? It obviously is way more than half, yeah. So a half of an hour, because we don't measure in hundreds anymore, yeah. So an hour has 60 minutes, it doesn't have 100 minutes. So that's why in this system where you need only 60 to get to another unit, then it doesn't work like that with the decimals. So 8 hours and 45 minutes, if you have to write it as a decimal, you would write it as 8.75 if you want to write it as a decimal in the system that we used here. Okay, but we don't need to write it as a decimal. We can look at the fractions and the proportions here and see that actually 3/4 of something is obviously, yeah, it's basically 8 3/4. 8.45 is 8 3/4. So 8 3/4 is obviously closer to 9 than it is to 8. Okay, if you only had a quarter, then it would be closer to 8. If you had a half, you would consider it closer to 9, just because when you are halfway between the two numbers, you pick the biggest one. Okay, so that's why. Right, let's see the last one. Gerd has rounded a number to the nearest whole number. His answer is 600. Write down 5 different possible numbers that he could have rounded. This is a beautiful question, because you can have so many right answers. Well, not an infinity, but you have plenty of right answers. So, what can we write to the nearest whole number? So you have to write something with decimals. So you can write 599 point something. That makes you round it to 600. So what do we write after the point? to be able to round it up. So obviously 600 is going to be, yeah, if you want to get to 600 here, you need to have a 5, right? Okay, so this number rounds it up. Anything below the 5 here, if you have a 4, it doesn't round up to 600. So right now, if we found this 5, you can write anything you want after the 5. You can write a few more decimals. Or you can move up, so you can also have 599.6, yeah, or 99.7, and so on. And even after this 6, you can write anything you like, and it would still be rounding to 600. Okay, and you can also have numbers with 600. So if you are going to go over 600, you need to be far enough that you don't get to half. Yeah, so if you go past 600 and a half, yeah, if you go past this number, then it's too big and it's going to round to the nearest whole number, which is 601. Okay, so you can't have the 5, but anything up to 4. Yeah, and you can write anything even after 4. If you write, what can you write? You can write 4, 9. Yeah, if you round to the nearest whole number, then you're only looking at the 4. Okay, and you can write 603. You can write 602, 601, and so on. And even after this, you can write a few more digits here. There is actually an infinity of numbers, but yeah, you have to be very careful. Okay, so I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Here are the answers. Yeah, on this slide, there's the answers. You can check them out and see if you've done the first few questions right, or even the last ones. Okay, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next lesson if there's anything else you want to learn. Bye for now.